Hi, I'm Rob from robandphoto.com, and in this little video I'm going to be talking about a really essential accessory that you might want to think about buying for your new Canon 600D Rebel T3i. And this little accessory can really transform the look of your photographs in certain situations. And that accessory is a circular polarizing filter. Now these are really great little things. You've probably got a filter already on your camera when you bought it from the camera shop, or maybe you when you bought it online or second hand. You'd read a lot in the forums about how you needed to protect your lens, and so on the front of it you might even have a UV filter or a skylight filter. I'm not going to get into the debate about whether it's worth fitting one. Personally speaking, I think it is worth fitting one if it makes you feel better, because if you then drop that lens or bash into something, that's going to protect it, and for the price of 20 or 30 pounds for a new UV filter, you've protected your lens. However, I do also understand the fact that having another piece of glass stuck on the front of your camera, especially if it's a cheaper UV filter, is that really going to improve the quality? It's probably not. It's probably going to decrease it, and you're probably going to get flare and things like that. But I am a big believer in lens hoods, but that's another story. So here we have a polarizing filter. So what does a polarizing filter do, and why should we fit it to our camera? Well, what happens is when we're out and about with our camera on a nice sunny day, and let's say we want to take a picture of the sea, and the sun's in the sky and it's shining down, the sea's there, and it's a beautiful blue colour, but we're getting a lot of glare coming across the sea, because what's happened is the light from the sun is kind of coming down, bouncing around in the atmosphere, hitting the sea and then bouncing towards us. Unfortunately though, we're not just getting the lovely blue light that's being reflected or refracted from the sea, we're also getting lots of other light as well, which means that that's why we kind of get this glare. And what a polarizing filter does is, if you were to look at it under a microscope, there's actually lots and lots of lines in it, and then you've got two discs that move against each other, both with lines on. And then roughly, I mean, that's how actually circular polarizing filters are slightly different, but bear with me. And so what happens is you screw this onto the front of your camera, and then you turn the element. You might even be able to see it here actually. And then at some point, the reflections, no you can't, the reflections disappear. Oh, you might have seen it there. And that means that all that nasty glare off the sea disappears, and we're just left with the blue sea. If you're near a fish pond, if you point a lens, a camera with a polarizer on, and turn it, you'll see the glare and the reflections off the water will disappear, and you can see into the water. So that's often why fishermen will have polarized lenses so they can see. And drivers, a lot of the time, you wear polarized lenses so that when you're driving along and you get the glare off the road, you can get rid of it. The polarized lens will do with that. But for us, what a polarizer does is it removes glare from things and makes the colours show through a lot more, so they can be a lot more saturated. And this can go for anything from the sea to foliage, trees. It could be a building, anything where that's colourful. Basically, a polarizer can reduce the glare and enhance the colours. And it works really well for black and white, because if you can imagine, say you're taking a black and white shot of a landscape with a nice blue sky. When you convert to black and white, you can choose which of the colours turn into which of the tones. So you could choose, for example, blue to go very, very dark, or to go dark. But if you can make that blue richer, that darker in the black and white conversion can be even stronger as well. So again, by having a polarizer on, that can really help. Now there are, the big catch with a polarizer is the fact that we are blocking out light. So as you're turning the polarizer and it's getting rid of that glare, you may well find that your shutter speed starts to get a little long. So make sure you either increase your ISO, open up your aperture, or if you're shooting in something like auto ISO, the camera's going to going to sort that out for you, but just keep an eye on that and be aware of it as well. There's also a couple of different types of polarizers. You get circular polarizers, and then you get the older standard polarizers. Now, the older ones aren't really meant to work with modern cameras. They can interfere with the autofocus and the exposure system. Now, I've used them and I haven't really had that many problems on my old 350D, but saying that, I haven't tried any on my new 600D. I've just got this Hoya circular polarizer, and it works well. It does what it's meant to do, and I keep it in my camera bag to use it. Now, when you're deciding which circular polarizer to buy, well, you get what you pay for. The more money you spend, you can have better glass, you can have better optics. Just make sure you either get the one that's correct for your particular filter thread size. So for the 18 to 55, the 55 to 250, it's got a 58mm thread, so this will screw straight on. However, if you've got a number of different lenses that have different size threads, you may well want to buy a bigger one and then buy step down rings for it. Very, very wide lenses like 10 to 22s or fisheyes, you can't always use a filter on, and often a polarizer can have a bit of a strange effect because you get different amounts of glare from different parts of the sky. So if you're using a polarizer on a very wide angle lens, sometimes even when you're shooting it wide on your standard your kit lens, parts of the sky can be darker than others or lighter than others, and it can look a bit odd, but it can also lead to interesting effects there. So there's not that many filters in the age of digital, that we can really go for. Maybe a UV filter to protect the front of your lens, but as far as special effects filters go, the polarizer is really the only one that you can't recreate in Photoshop very easily. If there's some glare coming off a car windscreen, you can't get rid of that in Photoshop easily. Where with the polarizer, you just go dunk, and you can see it inside the car. You can see through that glare from the sea. You can get the colours to come through on that nice landscape shot. So there we go, the circular polarizer filter, a definite must-have for any photographer's bag. Yeah, go out and get one and start playing around with it on sunny days. My name's Rob from robknownphoto.com. Remember, you can email me, scalespeeder@gmail.com, or visit robknownphoto.com, or leave a comment in the section at the bottom and I'll try and get around to answering them. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it's been a little bit helpful, and maybe pretty soon I'll see you on Flickr.